Are we ready for this? Yes, excellent. Welcome to...
We can't hear you. Are you ready for this? Awesome. Cool.
Thank you for that, Minhaz. Okay, so welcome to the secrets of scaling interactive and insightful dashboards with Data Studio and BigQuery. Pretty long title. I'm Felipe Hoffa. I've been at Google for the last 7 years.
Felipe is the developer advocate for BigQuery, and I'm Minhaz Kazi. I'm the developer advocate for Google Data Studio. And I've been here for a year.
Yes, welcome to Google, Minhaz.
Thank you. It's been exciting.
Happy to have you here.
Cool.
So a lot of people know me because I've been doing BigQuery and being the developer advocate for it for the last 5 years. And I love analyzing data. I love visualizing it. And we have a lot of partners that help us visualize this data. But there has always been an empty space in my life until Data Studio showed up. True story.
Yes. Data Studio is Google's business intelligence / visualization platform that anyone can use for free to build scalable, insightful dashboards. And, well, BigQuery makes Felipe happy. Data Studio makes me happy. And together, we would like to make the audience happy. So here, we would like to answer this question for you. How can you get your big data ready to visualize and share with the world? And the answer to that is?
Let's combine BigQuery and Data Studio. But if you want to combine them, there are certain rules. As when you want to combine me and Minhaz on a stage.
Yes, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and you have to follow certain rules.
Exactly. So we want to share with you our best secrets when using both together.
Yes. One thing is that everything we talk about here today are all information as of July 2018. So if you are looking at this recording at a later date, please know that new information might be available. So yeah.
Exactly. So you two people, the principles that we are going to show you here remain, but the relationship with BigQuery and Data Studio will all improve, as my relationship with Minhaz.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yes. So let's get started. Let's do some examples.
So we can look at this dashboard that you built a few days ago.
If anyone likes football, I made this dashboard with all the goals that happened last month. And what I love about this dashboard is that I was able to put it on the middle of a Medium post.
So you have a dashboard in the medium of a Medium post.
Exactly. Sure. And it's interactive. So let's say you want to see the goals from your favorite team, which would be?
Chile.
Chile. Yes, I am from Chile, but Chile did not play this year.
Oh, OK.
So give me another one.
I don't know, Brazil?
Brazil, cool. So yeah, this is interactive. You can show your favorite team, and these were the goals of Brazil.
Felipe, there are all these dots on the right side. What is the one on the left side?
Oh, the one on the left is an own goal. And Belgium says obrigado. But let's continue.
Sure. So this is one dashboard that you built in Data Studio from BigQuery data and published it. People are using it. We have a few other examples.
Wikipedia. Who knows Wikipedia? If you don't know it, look for it on Wikipedia. How many page views does Wikipedia have in a month or this year?
Millions?
Millions? Billions?
Maybe.
Yeah, so in this share table, I have all of the page views for 2018. And this table has a summary of page views per hour. And this table has already 31 billion rows, more than 1 terabyte of data. And visualizing this will be pretty interesting, and we're going to do that next.
Sure. What else are we going to look at today?
Stack Overflow. You know Stack Overflow?
Yes.
Yes.
That's where I spend most of my time.
Exactly. So again, a lot of us spend a lot of time on Stack Overflow, and I want to see the most current trends. Where are all the page views going? And again, I publish a dashboard on Medium. It's interactive. Let's look for your favorite tag.
Angular?
AngularJS, one of the top tags. Is it going up or down?
Show of hands. Who here thinks Angular is going up? And who here thinks Angular is going down?
Oh, come on.
No.
OK, AngularJS is going down.
No.
But wait a minute.
Yes.
Right below AngularJS, there is a tag.
Different tag called Angular.
Angular,
Let's
yes.
try that one out.
So the Angular team switched
Everyone
tags.
Is right.
Exactly. Everyone is right. It's going down and up. But Angular as a technology is going up and to the right.
Cool.
which is pretty good.
So we have also other data sets like Google Analytics for Firebase. If you have your own data for Google Analytics for Firebase for your app, you can visualize that by putting the data in BigQuery and pulling out that into Data Studio and having a dashboard.
Exactly. So it's pretty good. You can also use these techniques for private data, and we're going to show you a little bit of that.
Yes, and the last data set we have is a very interesting one. It's the Chrome UX report. The Chrome UX team has anonymized data for all the Chrome users who, where you can basically see for 5 million different URLs the actual website usage performance, like how fast does it take for that website to load. And you have that data for 5 million different URLs, and you can look at it from different countries, by different connection types, and by different devices.
Exactly. So this is millions and millions of observations, anonymized and shared on BigQuery by the Chrome team, and you can look at 3 million websites?
5 million.
5 million websites.
And you can have like a dashboard that looks like this.
Exactly. And here you can see how the Google's homepage performance changed through time.
Yes, so from October 2017 to February, most of the times it was 80% people had like a fast performance for the first contentful paint, but then something happened in March, it went down, and then it slowly went back up again in June 2018.
Exactly. There was a regression, someone fixed that pretty fast, but the fun thing is, on one hand, it's not easy to write these queries because how do you query anonymized data? It's a little different. But you can make everything as easy for users with a Data Studio report.
Yes, and we will show you how you can see the same thing for your own website.
Cool.
So, Felipe, these are all big data sets. I have a question for you. What is big data?
Do you know what we call big data at Google?
No, what?
We call it data.
I see what you did there. All right, I can get behind that.
We love data. We deal with huge data sets all the time.
So what do you use to deal with data?
So we have amazing tools inside Google. We share them with the world. One of them is BigQuery. We use it to analyze terabytes of data. Everyone here is familiar with BigQuery? OK, oh, so many hands. I think you might be at a Google conference. So BigQuery is awesome. You can analyze a lot. You can use SQL. It's scalable. It's always on. It operates with your favorite data science tools. And you can share data. Everyone has a free terabyte for queries every month. And it's ready for you to try.
Awesome. So maybe we can see an example?
Yeah, let's look at an example of BigQuery. Sure. Page views of Wikipedia. We were talking about how many page views we have in a month. Oh. This is how we keep our website secure.
Yes.
With a little key. And we are here on the new UI for BigQuery, for those that have not tried it. It's pretty cool. Let's compare. What page got more page views? Which page should we compare?
We were talking about the World Cup. Maybe we can look at France and Croatia.
OK. Let's compare France and Croatia.
We have this query saved. We'll open up the query.
The query is ready there. Cool.
And run the queries.
Which one got more page views, France or Croatia?
We hear things France got more page views.
Croatia?
All right. Croatia.
OK. We have the results there.
So,
and Croatia got 8 times more views, 5 million views versus less than 1 million.
And so, this is data for last 1 month around.
Exactly. So the question now is this related to the World Cup or not?
We don't know that because we have to look into the data. This is just one number. If you can do this query maybe by day or by hour, that would give us more insight.
Let's try to find some correlation. So can you visualize?
So let's try to see the query.
OK.
We will run the query by hour.
Let's get the results hour by hour.
And we will run this query in BigQuery for France and Croatia.
We have the results hour by hour here.
Hour by hour. So the problem with this is these are a lot of numbers, and from here you don't really know what's going on. You can't compare. This is where you need visualization.
Here comes the question. How do we visualize these results? What's the easiest way?
Well, you use Data Studio.
Let's use Data Studio.
So Data Studio is Google's, like I said, BI and visualization platform that lets you build engaging reports and dashboards. It works like other G Suite applications like Sheets or Docs or Slides, so you can collaboratively build dashboards. It's a turnkey publishing platform, which means you just turn the key and it works. That's it. It has built-in permissions model, and it is easy and completely free to use.
Free.
Free. That's a freebie.
Let's try it out.
All right, so we will take the same query you had for this one. So we'll just copy this query and go into Data Studio, create a new data source, and there are a lot of connectors in Data Studio that will let you connect to different data sources. So we will connect to BigQuery, create a new custom query, pick our project.
You choose a project, the billing project.
And we'll paste the query we had. And we were looking at only 2 countries.
Let's look at all the countries.
All the countries in the World Cup.
OK. Let's do that one.
Let's do that. So, and this is
every country that participated there. Let's see which one got more page views.
so
Now,
right
hour by hour.
Yes. So we will disable this. And we know that this is hour by hour. So we'll pick this hourly.
Cool.
And create dashboard. So what Data Studio is doing now is creating a live connection to BigQuery and pulling in the data.
Nice. So
getting blank canvas.
yeah, Data Studio has thousands of connectors.
Almost there, hundreds.
Hundreds. And one of them is a connector to BigQuery.
Right.
And people can keep writing more connectors until we have thousands.
Yes.
Cool. And this is now we're visualizing the results of this query.
We'll make a line chart. And
a timeline, hour by hour. And Data Studio is now going all the way to BigQuery to get the results.
Again, and then pulling in the data. So here you can see the results for all the countries.
Okay, but I only see 10 countries.
Data Studio is just picking you 10 to begin with. You can just change this number. You can put in any number of countries you want. For example, I'll just put in a filter here.
Yeah, show me just France and Croatia.
All right, so filter is here. And we view it again. So it's now again populating the value for the filters. We will pick Croatia and France.
France. So we already know that Croatia got more page views, but when did they get the page views?
Yes.
And this is taking some time because Data Studio is going all the way to BigQuery, analyzing our huge table.
Every time we make the changes, it will make a new query and pull in the data again from BigQuery. So as you can see, Croatia got these huge spikes at different times. And let's see at what time. This is around 9 p.m. and this is UTC.
UTC, so it's when the games were playing.
So this is basically when the semifinal happened and the final happened. So all the spikes Croatia is getting is exactly when either they were winning or they're playing the finals.
Exactly. So correlation is not causation, but at least we can see that that's when Croatia was getting all the page views, and probably they were getting more page views than France because less people know what is Croatia. But now they do. Well, that's why they go to Wikipedia. Now, this was cool, but a little slow, because every time we're going to BigQuery, we're doing a round trip. So can you make it fast?
You can. There are different ways of making it fast, and we're introducing a new feature in Data Studio shortly. It's not available right now, so this is like a sneak peek preview. We already have a feature called Explore that lets you look at data in a more visual way, and you can drag and drop and visualize it. And along with that, you'll be able to materialize the data. So whatever data set you're pulling in, you can take that, Data Studio can take the data and materialize inside GCS and pull in data from there. And we can probably show a quick demo of that.
Let's show a quick demo of the future feature.
Here. So we will go back to BigQuery, and we will run this query inside BigQuery.
Again, the new BigQuery UI, try it out. Now on beta, open for everyone.
Running the query. And I believe the query ran. And then you have this button called Explore in Data Studio. Once you click this button, it will take you immediately from BigQuery into Data Studio with the query that you just selected and let you explore this data. And we can try to recreate what we did earlier. So we will just get rid of that record count. And we will make this
Get it by hourly, yes. By default, it makes it daily, but let's look at things hourly.
Time series chart, and we'll pull in views. And this should recreate what we did in the earlier, but in the Explore view. So it's pulling in the data. And what will happen is, once you do this, you'll get a nice button here that will let you materialize the data set. So you'll be able to click that button, and then that button will basically take the data and put it in Data Studio, and then you'll be able to query it very fast from within Data Studio.
Exactly, and you will stop doing the round trips to BigQuery.
Yeah. So where it takes maybe 5 or 4 seconds right now, it'll probably take less than a second, half a second to materialize. So that's how basically materialize would work. It will work like just any other data source.
Nice. I can't wait until we get the materialize button.
Yes.
Now, will it have some limitations?
It will. So it's a feature still being developed. It's not available right now. The workflow probably might be a bit different. There will be a 100 megabyte limit initially, so because the data will be materialized in cloud storage. You might also get some limitations around scheduling. You'd have to manually update the data, or there might be scheduling options available where you can set up for that data to be updated every maybe 1 day or hourly. So we're still looking into it.
So that's a great feature. You can write your queries. It will materialize it. You will schedule them. But what if I need a solution now?
So you want to do scheduling today?
Yes.
I believe you have a solution for that.
Yes, because as I showed you before, we have published these dashboards online, and we wanted a solution that didn't go through BigQuery every time. So let's show them. This is a Google spreadsheet developed by Annie Lopez, one of our teammates. And in this sheet, I just can copy any query. And behind it, we have AppScript.
Who here knows about AppScript? Awesome. So if you don't know about AppScript, AppScript is Google's scripting language that is a subset of ES5 JavaScript. You can code on the web UI, or you can also code locally and push the code into the web UI. It works very well with other Google technologies like Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Google APIs and services like BigQuery.
Exactly. So with a few lines of code, I can get AppScript to query BigQuery. And with no code, I can schedule AppScript to go there every hour, every day, whenever I want to run it.
Awesome. So what did you do with this AppScript thing?
Exactly. And I scheduled it to work every hour, and I added 3 lines of code so AppScript would materialize the results of my query into Google Cloud Storage. This is all it takes to materialize to Google Cloud Storage. And then Data Studio can read the data straight from Google Cloud Storage.
Yes, that is true. So this will work with scheduling. However, there would be some problems with that. One is you still get limited by that 100 megabyte data set in cloud storage, and this data is not indexed. So it's like a flat file.
Exactly. You get pretty fast results with small files, but bigger files will not give you indexed results. So for that, there are more solutions. You can connect Data Studio to more sources. In this case, for a bigger dashboard, I use Cloud SQL. Let me show you them the dashboard.
Sure. So this is a dashboard that you haven't published yet?
Exactly. I will publish it soon. Let me show you a preview. This is, again, Stack Overflow. But in this case, I'm looking at the trends question by question for every question in Stack Overflow. So you can see what is trending, what are the most important questions right now, what questions are not needed anymore. These ones are the questions for BigQuery. One of the top questions of this quarter and 2 quarters ago was getting the application credentials for Python. Another big question is, how can we cast in BigQuery? Some people are lost. They go to Stack Overflow, and they keep going there. On the other side, you can see the trending questions, things that are new questions for our users, how to move.
String to date.
Yeah, string to date in BigQuery. On the other side, questions that are not that important now. And as you can see, this is a lot of data, so putting it in a database that gives me indexed results is a good way to serve this.
So what is this trend line on the left side?
Oh yeah, a couple tricks when using Data Studio. In this case, I managed to get a 10 trend line. You can change the tag for anything else. Let's say TensorFlow.
TensorFlow? All right.
Or JavaScript. Let's see if JavaScript is trending up or down on.
Let's do JavaScript.
OK, anything. We can just jump anywhere here. And you can see that JavaScript is not getting any more views, but you can get this little trend here. And you can also see those little trend lines there in each line.
How do you do those?
Oh, those we built using just some SQL magic to. And if you want to see how we made them, we did this as a collaborative project on Stack Overflow. So we have look for sparklets in BigQuery, and you will find my answer and my engineers and Mihail's, and we got there.
People don't want to know about SQL. They just want drag and drop and make beautiful visualization.
Yeah, but this is a pretty cool trend line.
Sure. So can you tell us what you exactly did behind this? Like, how did you set up your data pipeline?
Oh, yes. Let's go back to how we made this with Cloud SQL. Basically, I have BigQuery, and in BigQuery, run my huge analysis reducing the data. I store it in cloud storage. That can be imported into Cloud SQL, which is MySQL in this case, and then Data Studio can read it.
Okay, so you have this whole pipeline where you're getting data from BigQuery, putting it in cloud storage, and from cloud storage, it's getting imported into Cloud SQL, and Data Studio just uses its native connector to Cloud SQL to pull in the data. And the data is fast because it's indexed, and Data Studio has a native connector to Cloud SQL. You don't have to set up the firewall rules. It just works out of the box.
Exactly. So it's pretty easy. And then I could put any other catch in the middle. Cloud SQL was just pretty easy for me for this case.
Okay.
What about private data? Well, because all of this, we've been looking at public data sets, but I want to bring these principles also to my own data.
Sure, we can do that. Like we looked at Stack Exchange data, Wikipedia data, but you might have private data where you want to use that data with yourself, or maybe it's an organizational data where you want multiple people within your organization to look at the same data. Right. So there, the question also becomes that, hey, can I use templates? I have my private data, and I want to create a template where all my internal users can use the same template with my data. Or can I create a template where different private users can use the same template with their data? And the thing is, yes, it is possible. Data Studio lets you use all the reports as templates. And we have a template gallery. If you go to datastudio.google.com/gallery, there's a huge gallery with all different kinds of templates available, and we'll look at one example. So this is the example for Google Analytics for Firebase. Let's say you have your Google Analytics for Firebase data in BigQuery.
So this is a sample visualization with someone else's data?
Yes, this is like sample data. And you have your own data set in BigQuery, and you want to use that data set with this dashboard. So the way you do it is you'd need the name of your project. So I will just take an example because I don't have my own Firebase project.
That's the name of the project you want to visualize, the one you have permissions to.
I'll go back, and all I have to do is click on this use template, and I will change and create a new data source. I know the data is in BigQuery, and I know it's a shared project. If you're doing it for your own project, you might have to go through your My Projects and go through that flow. And I'll pick a project, the shared project name, the data set is analytics, and the table is events.
Boom.
Click on events and click connect, and that
now,
should be it.
Exactly. You created a connector for the pretty template, and now any template that use data that you might have in the similar shape, you can use it for your own data with Data Studio.
Yes. So this is the sample data set we have on BigQuery. It's using that sample data set, but I just connected that data set to this template, and it's working.
Cool. And this is working, and it's connecting straight to BigQuery, and now we're in a similar place. Like, this is great for a data analyst.
Yes.
But if I want to publish this.
So if you want to make this scalable, for an analyst, what would happen is, let's say, analysts would probably create a direct connection from BigQuery to Data Studio. So you write a query, you create a dashboard, and you have the direct connection. And for the analyst can create a dashboard like this, for example, based on the Chrome UX dataset, but they would incur very little cost, depending on how many queries they're doing. So if one analyst does 300 completely unique queries, so it doesn't use any of the cache in BigQuery or Data Studio, just completely unique queries, and on average 30 gigabytes of query size, they'll use 9 terabytes of BigQuery data, and then that would cost them $40.
Well, for an analyst, it's pretty cool. Now you are querying 300 times 30 gigabytes of data. That might be a big table, but the price is reasonable. Everything is working fine. But then you want to publish this.
That's where you might face some difficulties, but because let's say you take the same dashboard, you put it on a website, embed it somewhere in your Medium post, and then suddenly hundreds of people are looking at it. So let's just assume, hypothetical scenario, 500 visitors are coming to your website. There are 4 different queries in your dashboard, and each user is looking at the dashboard 6 times, again, around 30 gigabytes of size. You end up with 350 terabytes of data usage in BigQuery.
Exactly. So the first thing you have to do when you start playing with this is
You have to have some kind of caching there.
Yes, or turn on.
Well, yes, that's a good point. First line of defense is this.
Yes, turn on your cost controls in BigQuery so you will not wake up to any surprise. These are pretty easy to use. You just turn them on, and then everything, you will not wake up to any surprise because your queries will be contained. But then I still want to put this dashboard online, and I want to have all my costs contained.
There is a way to do it. So what we could do is everything that we just looked at, you have this caching mechanism, you have templates, and you have scalability. We can put all of these together into one solution. And that is, how can your users go from complex data to a scalable, cost-effective dashboard in 5 clicks by using community connectors?
Exactly. And with the community connector, we will be able to encapsulate all of this logic without having the users need to know all of these tricks.
Yes. Community connectors are, again, written in AppScript. They are connectors for Google Data Studio. You basically define a few functions and then add your connector to Data Studio, and then Data Studio can pull the data through that connector. And you can implement your own logic for caching or permissions. You can add all of that.
With AppScript, you have the flexibility to build any logic you want.
Yes. So for example, we took the Chrome UX dataset. From the Chrome UX dataset, you can potentially build a dashboard that looks like this. But we wanted to give the users more flexibility. So what we did is we created a workflow that looks kind of like this. We have the initial dataset in BigQuery. So every month we do an initial level of aggregation, and we create a smaller BigQuery table.
In fact, you go from the 30 gigabytes table to a
less than 2 gigabytes.
Less than 2 gigabytes, that's much better.
Yes, so that is our first level of cache. Then for every URL, once per month, we cache that URL's data into Cloud Firestore, which again has a free tier. And from Cloud Firestore, every time someone wants to look at a dashboard containing that URL, we pull in that data into AppScript's cache. AppScript's cache is not permanent. It will be alive maximum from maybe a few minutes to 6 hours. So if you're using the connector to connect to that data, you get very fast performance, but it's not persistent. So you'll have to pull it again from Firestore. So we take all of that, we take the cache data, and we add it to a custom template. And then we have this community connector that you can use in Data Studio.
So Data Studio connects to the connector, you encapsulated all of the logic there, and it goes on every level of cache that you wrote.
Exactly.
But as a user, I want to know my own websites. How do I use this?
So if you're the user, you don't see any of this. You don't have to worry about any of this. All you get is one URL. So you go to this URL, and we have hyperlinked it. We go to this URL. That's it. You get a new interface where you have to add in your website. So let's try Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, or any of your favorite websites. We have 5 million URLs there.
So we'll add Wikipedia. We will add this origins to be modified. Connect. Allow.
And this is a public URL where you are right now.
Yes, this is a public URL. And so what this is doing is it's going into BigQuery, pulling in the data. So right now, it went into BigQuery, pulled in the data, put it in Cloud Firestore, pulled the data from Firestore, put it in AppScript's cache, and it's now ready to create the dashboard. So we create the report, and we already have a template attached to it. So the user puts in their URL, makes 5 clicks, and they end up with their own dashboard for their URL.
Oh.
And this is their own dashboard. It's not like a shared dashboard that different people are viewing. It's their dashboard. They can go in, they can change things, edit things, they can do whatever basically they want. So for example, I will put in a comparison here. So I can take this same thing. I will check the URL and take this one, copy it, paste it. So I have 2 things side by side for the same URL. And maybe I'll compare with a different website.
Any website?
Any website? Anyone?
Any suggestion?
Google.com.
Google.com, yes.
blue.google.com. And the users can do this. Whoever is the user just went into this, they can view the same thing. So you have side-by-side comparison of your website with any other website that you picked. And this is real-life usage data. It's not even like sample data. This is total Chrome anonymous usage statistics.
And in this case, the connector is using your credentials.
Yes.
Like any user can create a new instance of the connector. The credentials are privately stored there.
Yes, the credentials we're using is on a service account. So whoever created the connector is bearing the cost. So the users who are using this connector, they don't have to worry about having a BigQuery account, or they don't have to worry about cost because they're not incurring any cost.
And you don't worry about the cost either because you built all of these caching layers.
Yes, so we can have a look at the cost now. If we go back, initially we were incurring this much cost and this much data usage for this connector. But if we implement the new model for caching, what ends up happening is it's the same 500 users, but you get less than one query per dashboard view because you have everything cached, and your query size becomes 2 gigabytes, so it's less than 1 terabyte of BigQuery data usage, which is in the free tier, and it's less than 10 gigabytes of Firebase usage, which is again in the free tier, so your cost becomes 0. That's how you can encapsulate all of this and create a complete solution. But what about permissions? Oh, good thing is if you want to create your own community connectors, we have this code lab. You can go to this code lab and learn how to create your own community connector using AppScript. It should take you about 15 minutes to 30 minutes. And you can create connectors to any web API or external services.
Yes, and it's an amazing code lab because Minhaz wrote it. So let's talk a little bit about permissions because we have private data, we have enterprise data. There are levels where we want to secure our data. So what can we do about it?
I believe BigQuery has some permissions inside of
Exactly. BigQuery has the Google permissions model of who can read, write, or modify tables, and you can make your data available at that level. You can, if you go to the next screenshot, you can see here, like you can add users by email or create Google groups to make easy to manage them, or with any domain, or for all authenticated users for public data, or even you can create views that allow people to see your data, but only through a view, which is a pretty cool model. But you don't even need to share your data in BigQuery if you do it on Data Studio.
Yes, Data Studio also has several layers of permissions. If you create a Data Studio report, you can share it with other people just using the drive permissions. So you can share it with a selected group of users. You can share it within your entire organization. You can also share it with everyone who has the URL. And you can share it either for viewing permissions or for editing permissions. You can also take this report and embed it. So let's say you share this with everyone, and then you can take that report and embed it in a Medium post like Felipe did. You also get permissions at the data source level. So when you create a data source and you add that data source to a report, you can put in either viewer's credentials or owner's credentials. What that means is if I create the report and I put in owner's credentials, and then I share that report with Felipe, and Felipe views the dashboard, Felipe will see my data. But if I enable viewer's credentials, when Felipe views that dashboard, Felipe will see Felipe's data, and I will see my data.
I can control if people want to see my data that I share with them, or if they can only see data they have the permission to see. The permissions get passed all the way through Data Studio into your source.
Yes, and the good thing about community connectors is that using community connectors, you can implement any kind of permissions model that you have. If you have your own permissions and own credentials set up, you can also flow that through community connectors and add that as a layer on top of all of this.
Nice.
That is pretty cool.
That's how our partners create their own connectors.
Yes, most of our partners have their own credentials which will flow through this, and then they basically know which user is using the connector, and then they can show that user their specific data. We went through all of these 4 data sets, the Wikipedia page views, Stack Overflow trends, Google Analytics for Firebase, and Chromex reports. That was pretty interesting for us, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully it was interesting for you too. Let's go to our takeaways. Sure. So BigQuery is really, really awesome to analyze terabytes of data.
And Data Studio is more awesome because it lets you dashboard all of your data for free.
Exactly. But if you want to put them together, you want some rules in between.
Yes, there needs to be something in between, a caching layer, something in between.
Exactly. And there are ways that you can do this that Materialize you will have soon and will be pretty easy to use.
And you can use Cloud SQL, you can use community connectors. Adding a caching layer will let you avoid having like exploding number of queries in BigQuery.
Yeah.
So that is basically the end of our presentation. If you want to know more about BigQuery or Data Studio, you can view the subreddits. You can ask questions on Stack Overflow.
If you want to know more about Minhaz, follow him on Twitter.
If you can't get enough of Felipe, follow him on Twitter.
Your feedback is our data.
And we love data.
Yes. Thank you very much.